Hey guys,
Hi everyone, I am Jossie Yendel.
and I am Faye Louise, and I am back and ready to go. How is everybody doing out there? I'm going to do some sharing, Jossie, so you can tell everyone what's happening. And for our guests who are sat in the background, Sandy, don't touch your phone. But for everybody else, if you want to share this on Facebook and Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, it's on our actual socials right now live, so you guys can share away. And everybody else joining us, please share. This is very important. Jossie, take it away. I'll do some socials.
Yeah, so this is the first ever episode we are doing of a series of new monthly shows where we are going to be focusing on a very important topic that normally these things they kind of just come about once a month or when something in the world happens and there's a big media hype and then it dies down, and then you often think, is anything actually being done? So we are kicking off our new series of awareness shows with Black Lives Matter. What is going on in the world right now? What is going on in the world? The world is just, it is changing.
The
And
world is bleeding, Jossie. The world is bleeding.
Well, but I believe that it can change, and what we will look back on 2020 and think, what on earth? Like, it is, to me, I think this is going to be a turning point in history. I think because we have social media now, we're able to connect with more people and get that message out there that any form of discrimination is wrong. And especially at the moment, it is so, and we are so aware of the racism that is going on still in our society, and it has been going on for far too long. Changes have happened over the years, but they've been very slow.
Not fast enough, Jossie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And when you start to read into this and watch certain documentaries, you really do get an understanding maybe of why the world is the way it is and why the world is unfair. And in this day and age where we can all connect, people who are unfairly treated are able to speak out. And that is what we're trying to do. Well, that is what we are going to do. Not trying, we are going to do with these shows. We are going to give people that
in 2020, Jossie, in 2020, we actually have to do this show. Like, that's how matter of fact it is. The fact that we actually have to do this, the fact that the world hasn't just caught up, it really, really, really is and is on the side of just complete ignorance and privilege of from whatever background you're able to thrive in, because people don't understand. People aren't thriving, they are surviving, and sometimes very, very just. It is a big deal. This show is not just another show. It's going to be filled with the real facts of life, the real issues, and answers to questions that people out there might be scared to ask, but also to give a voice that should be shone on individual communities every single day. And we want to share our stage that me and Jossie have created with our brothers and sisters of color, of anything, that understand that the world needs to change, and the world needs to change now. It is,
I know.
I'm sick to tired of being thankful because a trans person is in a film or we have visibility. Fuck visibility, I'm fucking here already. Like, I'm sorry, that's how I feel. I hate all this bullshit that we have going on where we're happy to just be validated. Like, how can we not be validated already? There's like a huge population of individual people from different parts of the community, whether it be gender, sexuality, race, religion. And we need to learn to come together as one. And like, it blows my mind. And the guests we have on today, Jossie, are amazing.
Yeah, well, what I think, which I think is absolutely crazy, and you touched upon it there, things changing too quickly. I can remember when I was in school in the 90s, there was the whole show racism, the red card, and our generation, I feel, were made aware of racism. How is it still going on? I left school I left primary school 25 years ago. Like, come on. We thought that we were socially conscious and aware in the 90s, in the noughties, and it turns out we actually weren't. We actually weren't. A lot of people maybe went along with Blink, as there is so much that I can say on the subject and you can say on this subject, but I'm really, really looking forward to the guests that we have on today's show.
Absolutely, and let's get these fabulous people on. I'm going to bring all of our guests on one by one. It's going to be a busy show and an exciting show, and of course, everybody respect each other of talking, because you know I'm the loudest bitch here. Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello, hello. Can everybody hear us?
Yeah. How you doing? Love to everyone.
All right,
Hey,
Jaake.
are you there?
Hey, I'm here.
Good.
Love, the
We know
love.
what you like. We know what you like. So how is everybody doing?
Who wants to go first?
Very, very good.
Yeah. So far, so
I'm
good. You know what I
fine.
mean? Taking it one day at a time and trying to keep your mind in the right place, because obviously it's a crazy time at the moment. Not that, and that's not even mentioning, obviously, we've got the pandemic, and then we have this going on side by side. So you just have to be careful where you spend your energy and where your mind is at. You have to have, even though we kind of have to be aware of the conversation that's going on in the moment, but to stay strong and look after your mental health, which is very, very important.
Amen to that, darling. Amen to that, because, and you're right, a lot of people are saying I myself have said 2020 is my year. I still stand by that, because we are rising.
Yeah.
And how do you feel? Obviously, Jake's from the USA. How is it over there? From obviously it's different everywhere, but how is it over there, Jake?
Well, I'm from the US. I'm also from Los Angeles. So in Los Angeles, when we're talking about protests that turn to riots, we're talking about 3 cities in particular. We're talking about Minneapolis, we're talking about New York City, and we're talking about Los Angeles. So I actually live in downtown where what became a riot actually happened. And I live on 4th and Spring, which is where the police and the people actually started like having actual physical fights. So for me, it's been a really visceral experience to watch it happen in real time. I went to the protest during the day that turned into that first riot, and I felt how everything was different. I saw how there were people, literally every color walking around, every gender expression walking around, and I saw how crazed everyone's eyes were. And when I went home, the riots eventually came to me. So it's been very fascinating here. We've had a lot of violence from our police officers in Los Angeles in the first 3 days of protesting. But lately, everything has become a lot more peaceful on the police side, because the protests were always peaceful. But from the police perspective, things have gotten a lot more peaceful. We're having little wins in our government in America. So I feel extremely hopeful right now.
And how are you handling this, Sandi, especially with the kind of the life you've led? How has this moment in time impacted you? What are your thoughts?
I mean, as well, you know me. I mean, I get everywhere and I go everywhere. I've been to Los Angeles. I've been all over the world. I've traveled a lot of places, and this is an historic time right now. 2020 is, I mean, it is time to speak up. It is time to be open. You know, we've been silent for too long, and as they say, you know, enough is enough.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
For me to actually come out and actually, because I have every culture. I know everybody. I mean, I have so many friends who's white, African, whatever, like any culture. I mean, all over the world, and I have to speak up, and I have to make sure, say, you know, for one, we all need to be educated. Education is one of the keys, that we all need to be educated about what is happening and what's going on. We can shout from the top of the roofs, we can march, we can do it, but we still need to understand the reasons why this has happened, the reason why it keeps happening. And if we don't speak up and talk about it, have shows like this, or be open about certain situations which is occurring, it will just keep repeating itself over and over again. And that is what's been happening. But now it's like pushing somebody into a corner for a period of time, just keep pushing that person, and all of a sudden they fight back.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening right now. People are fighting back. Enough is enough. People have had enough. And it's lovely to see everybody coming together and standing up for each other, especially at a time like this, especially when it's coming to, you know, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Everybody's lives matter. We know that.
We know that, yeah.
But right now it's about Black lives.
Yeah.
People, you know, Black people are being killed.
Raven, you've been in the midst of it, haven't you? You've been out there. You've been, like, I've seen your socials. How is your experience and concept of this? How has it affected you?
Obviously, from the moment seeing the video of the poor guy being murdered for all the world to see, it really triggered something in my right deep in my spirit, in my heart. I felt it, especially when I heard him calling out for his mum. Do you know what I mean? Because it's something that I thought, oh my God, because I love my mum more than anything on the planet, and it's what you would do if you just feel helpless, and it stirred something in my heart and my spirit and my soul. Well, the very next day, I had to say something about it, and so I did I recorded a video and posted it on Facebook and stuff, just speaking about how it's affected me as a person, how I can relate to it, and how as a person of color, like, you spend your whole life tiptoeing around people to make them feel comfortable, minimizing yourself, making yourself smaller so that other people can feel at ease with themselves. So we're always catering to other people's feelings and how the way they feel. But when it comes to us, no matter what we do, we're always downtrodden. And no matter whether if you fight back, or you're angry, you're violent, you're aggressive. If you don't say anything, and if you use words in your book, oh, he's aggressive, he's violent, you can't do anything right. And so it just made me think that I've had enough of it. I've had enough of being told that I am less than somebody else. I've had enough that somebody thinking that they are more than me, which is certainly not the case. Because do you know what I mean? I'm not afraid to use my voice and let it be known. And with me in life, I'm a fair person. I'm understanding. I'm empathetic to all people. And so if I am not afforded that same respect, I will let you know. And being gay and being Black and having an opinion and having a voice and knowing your worth is a very, very dangerous thing to have, especially in the industry we all work in and stuff. When you have an opinion and you know your worth, you're then seen as problematic or negative or whatever. So then it stirred all the things that I've kind of had to live through my life. No, I've been to jail for beating up bullies. I fought people on the bus. I fought homophobia. I fought racism my whole life, and it's always because people see me because I'm kind and I shine, and they see that as a weakness. And then I've spent my whole life letting them know you couldn't be further from the truth. But then all that has done is make me that what I realized going to jail and whatever is that the only thing that can destroy us is ourselves. And they'll use that, they'll turn that, and they'll make you destroy yourself. So then what can you do? What can we do? So obviously when I've been to the protest, I've been to every single march in London, here in London and stuff, being visible. Well, we was told to kind of wear, like, those kind of nondescript clothing and stuff. Where I was like, no, hell no. I'm gonna wear the biggest headdress, the biggest look, all the positive colours, and let you know that I am here, standing loud and proud. And what I have seen is that beautiful speeches. You know what I mean? I've been welcomed. You know what I mean? It's been a welcoming, positive environment with all types of races and backgrounds and people. You know what I mean? Just coming together. It's been a very, very powerful moment, and I felt it. I've had this voice in me this my whole life, which has said, okay, I'm ready to fight this fight, but I'm not going to do it till we're all on the same page. Because because all you do is waste your own energy. If we're all putting the same energy into this one thing, things will happen. And here it is. And I've gone, boom, here we go. And so let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think the thing. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No.
But I think the thing is what people need to realize is that there is a history behind this. This has not just happened overnight. George Floyd wasn't killed and then
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That is not what it's about. It is years and years and years, and I'm going back 600 years ago to when the slave trade happened. Like, it started then, and it was wrong then, and even today, 600 years on, totally wrong. And like you're saying, people need to start just standing up now and saying that this is just totally not right.
And they are already. Things are changing. Do you know what I mean? Like, statues are coming down, murals are being built slowly. It's progress, but this is only the beginning of the healing process. There's a long way to go, but at least people are waking up. We just need to make sure we stick together, stand together. Don't allow them to change it from a positive, peaceful process to power in peace. And what they would love to do is try to flip it, because what I've noticed, all the media is focused on
and make it negative
and the darkness and the that. Do you know what I mean? And even like me as a gay black man, sometimes I don't feel welcome within my community as a black person. You know what I mean? So that I made a point of going down to the protest in like a leotard with arse out, heels on, just to see what the reaction was, just to see if people were together. And do you know what I mean? I was a bit like, oh God, here we go. But I'm strong enough to stand my ground and deal with it. And I went, and there was nothing but love and positivity and applause. You know what I mean? So just that in itself has let me know that we're here and we're standing together. Obviously, there's good, and there's bad people in the world. There's people who want to start trouble, there's people who isn't. But on the whole,
you're going to get that anyway.
It's just life. It's just the way it is. That's what's going to happen. But what they're trying to do is focus on the negative, and we need to focus on the positive. And that's when we'll get the change that we want together.
But it's a tactic that is being used so often and so visible. Like, for instance, as a trans woman, anything that would come out about being trans was always negative. It's always like, oh, this bad things happen, that bad things happen. Same with gays. And it's always a tactic that's used by the privileged of however they are privileged. And people don't understand that this is beyond what happened recently. This is, as Josie said, years and years and years old. But what my question is, and so many others, what changes need to be made? Like, what do you feel, Tina? What do you feel actually has to happen right now?
I feel what needs to happen is for our white counterparts. So my husband is white. I've been with John for 27 years. I don't need people to use words. I need you to show that you support us, right? You know, and to be fair, a lot of my friends have been sending me private messages. Sometimes they don't really know what to do. So you don't have to just show your support. Educate yourself. Educate yourself on Black history. Educate yourself.
It's all about
Educate yourself on. My parents came over from the West Indies, and you know what? My mum and dad have never discussed what they've been through. They've never brought me, my twin, or my brother up in dealing with racism or anything, because they didn't want us to have to go through that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, and they've never mentioned colour. But my husband, all his family, I've said to them, I'm not asking you to understand what we're going through. And just because I don't say anything doesn't mean I'm not affected. I've been affected by racism as a singer when I worked in recruitment, and I chose not to. Oh, she's loud. Oh, aren't you loud? Oh, aren't you aggressive? Oh, because I'm animated doesn't mean I'm aggressive. But somebody else, let me give you a very quick example. Big Brother, Megan McKenna, when she created, everyone, oh yeah, she's just excitable. When there was another Black person on there, they get, we've got to call security.
Oh, please.
We're not a threat to you. We're not a threat to you. Just because and you're the same people who wanting to get their lips done and their bums done. Really? Educate yourself. It's true though, isn't it, Sandy? Right? From going to school, look how big your lips are. Oh, look at the size of your bottom. And you're paying. This is realness. Right. This is real. So, and you want to stand out in the sun and put olive oil on your skin to be my colour. Are you for real? Are you for real? Educate yourself. Educate yourself. You cut me, the same blood red runs. The same. Right,
we believe
whether you're black or brown or olive or lesbian or gay, we are all one people. We all have feelings, and you're right, Raven, when you said the times I've had to dumb myself down to make these people feel uncomfortable. No more. I don't have to scream and shout to get my point across. I was telling you in a very articulate way that you will be shocked.
Yeah.
Sometimes by saying nothing is loud.
Nothing.
Well, I always think, Tina,
especially in this industry.
Well, I always think that certain aspects of discrimination or phobic behaviour towards different communities sometimes overlaps. Like, I have found myself sometimes like consciously being quieter and less like loud. Clearly that didn't sink in because I'm the loudest bitch in the house.
I concur.
I think exactly, but I understand myself because when I was quieting myself down and making myself a little bit less like, you know, in people's faces, I then was, in their eyes, I could become, they could victimize me and almost like push me around. Like I was someone, I should be happy that that straight woman has accepted me and all this kind of acceptance. And I've walked away from all that bullshit, but people don't understand. As you take a step out of your front door, you are dealt that. Like straight away. It's not a case of sometimes it happens. It's every day. And it irritates me, the privilege of people going, well, sometimes it can happen. No. Like as soon as Sandi step out their front door, it's there, and
I've said this to my husband. I can't remember what the situation was, but I said to him, I'm black and you're white, and the only time that people know the difference with you, John, is when you speak, whether they don't know whether you're English, German, Italian, Australian. People see my colour first before anything. They don't think, oh, isn't she pretty? Does she look great? They see this first before I've even said anything. Right? That's just a fact. They instill
that into all of us for us to think negative things about ourselves. Because me, obviously, growing up as I'm a mixed race, I come from a mixed race background.
Yeah.
You have all these preconceptions of who you are. Oh, because you're a black person, you think all these negative stereotypes are put on top of you. Do you mean the teachers? It's taught in our education. Racism exists in everything, in beauty products, in music videos, in fashion. It's everywhere.
But this paradigm that we have, that you were talking about when you get smaller, then people feel they can victimize you, is this constant thing where a black person is on trial or a trans person is on trial every day of your life. And if you found this perfect mix that exists, then people would stop being rude to you, or then you would stop getting in trouble. I've been arrested 4 times in my life, all for being black. The first time I was arrested, I was trying so hard to be polite. I was trying so hard to be sweet. I was trying so hard to be charming. I got arrested in a group of white kids. I was the only one arrested. The white kids got upset that I still got arrested. So then the next time I got arrested, a cop tried to bother me and I popped off. I was like, no, not this time, not going down easy. Then I got arrested and beat up. And I was stuck in this feeling of like, what am I doing wrong? When actually it's society that's treating us wrong. And this keeps going on where black people are always on trial. And then you start to feel like you're on trial. And before you know it, you start believing all of these negative stereotypes that they've assigned to you, which is why we see all this negative behavior coming from within our own communities. Yeah. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what actually has to change. You were asking Tina earlier. I think what I've been talking about a lot, I've been protesting for like 9 days straight now. And I keep talking about 3 things need to change. The first thing that has to change is white people have to understand that racism is their issue. It's not African American issues. So this is something you're gonna have to heal at home. That's up to you. And if you wanna know where to start, re-educate yourself on what history actually looks like. And you know, you said this happened 600 years ago. It actually goes for that because Jesus was not white. Jesus was not a white man. And so we have constantly rewritten history through a white lens that makes no sense. And if you listen to what you're taught in schools, it makes perfect sense that white people are superior. But what white people are going to have to do, and it's going to be their job and their job alone, is to really learn what white people have done to reshape history. Once you do that, you can really combat racism. The second thing that has to change is individual laws. Obviously, you got in the UK, so it's different here. But in America, we have to change something called qualified immunity, which basically allows, and the only way you can prosecute a cop is if he does identically the wrong thing to a person that's already been charged before. So if a cop punches you 3 times, he's not going to go to jail because the last cop who got in trouble punched you 2 times. So we have this very bizarre, archaic law in America that's allowed really horrible things to happen. For instance, one time a pregnant woman was arrested in handcuffs, and they had a dog, one of their drug dogs, bite her. He thought it was funny, and he got caught. They got caught on camera. He didn't go to jail because there had never been a case of a police officer allowing a dog to bite a person before. So this is something called qualified. Yay, Tina's back. Qualified immunity. It has to change.
Is she? Tina? Oh, there you are.
Stepped out for a minute.
I was like, shit, she's used the back door. She's gone. Sorry, continue, Jake. Continue.
Go on.
So the second thing is laws need to change. Qualified immunity is a big one. The third thing, though, is what type of politicians we're electing. And again, it's different in America. But in America, we need to pay attention to who we're electing as the district attorney and who we're electing in the mayor slot, because they choose the deputy mayors. So Tina's gone again. And so really quickly, so it doesn't get lost in the sauce, I helped create this website that's called fightforblacklaves.com. If you type in your zip code into this website, it pulls up every elected official that handles policing in your city with their email, their social media, and their phone numbers. And I think that's how a lot of great things can change.
Well, the dynamics are so different from the UK and everywhere around the world. But what resonated there, what you just said as well, is when I was arrested when I was younger, because I used to always think that it was unfair that I could be attacked or kicked or like really hurt. And like people, like I'll tell people like, oh yeah, I've been like bullied, and they'll be like, oh, I get that. And like I share my life with everyone, because I think more people know, the more people learn, the more people realize. And like I'll show you, I had all of my teeth knocked out.
Oh, bless you.
Due to being, you know, me. And then when I went to the police station, they took all of my clothes off and humiliated me more because I was the guy, the trans thing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I begged, bother, and stealed to get out of my life and change it for the better and not get in trouble. And strangely enough, realize I can't win everything by bloody fighting back like the way I used. But I wasn't just being called like, oh, you tranny. People were like kicking the living daylights out of me, or worse, sexually abusing me, because to them, I was just the piece of meat. But I will tell you this, before I transitioned, I had very clear white male privilege, and I didn't get any shit happen to me because I was protected in different ways. But as soon as I went from the conforming of life, I was then just thrown to the dogs. And people don't understand that my story seems so bad. But once again, I'm going to fucking say this because it needs to be said. Every time you step out your front door, Tina, Sandy, Jake, Raven, and everyone else, you guys are subject or potential risk of the circumstances happening. Is that that's correct? Correct.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think one thing which you were talking about, Jake, about racism, something that white people have to deal with. I agree with you. And one thing that this situation is made a lot of white people aware of is white privilege, and how white privilege is something that we need to address that, because it's not right. And a lot of us are never, ever, ever made aware of it. As Faye said before, as a male, you can go through life with that white privilege and nothing really happening to you. And as white people, it's how we then understand racism. And I believe if you've lived in quite an insular area, a small world, and everybody around you has been the same, then you probably are going to have racist views, as opposed to somebody who has had a bit more of a diverse background. I consider myself quite lucky. When I was younger, I had friends, rich, poor, different ethnicities. So I don't have a racist bone in my body at all. I don't understand it. But I do certainly think that this whole situation has brought about what white privilege is and how we need to address it.
Yeah,
well,
I
me
agree.
and Jessie both dated in the out of our the rules and all that. We really did. We like literally didn't give a hell of what we did. And we witnessed it like firsthand. The racism that was then, even my boyfriend said, now we're dating quite publicly, I get it a little bit more. And I was like, mind blown. I was like, because he was like, they were like, oh, you take like you're taking the white women and stuff. And I was just like, what the fuck is this world that I'm living in? You're taking the white women.
It's like,
that is the most shittest thing I've
it's
ever
very weird.
really.
It's very weird. Like when someone's for me, when someone's racist, or I think you are very weird. Because why does what someone looks like, why does that have such an effect on you? You're a freak. Also,
absolutely.
The same as when someone's homophobic. I then think, why are you concerned about what I'm doing in my spare time, in private? Why are you thinking about that? And why does that affect you so much? You are very weird. You need help. You know what I mean? So like, it doesn't offend me. I feel sorry for you. And also, yes, like I agree, like it's the people who are racist, it's up to them to it's up to them to educate themselves. We don't have the energy to do that anymore. What we need to focus on now is being heard and speaking and not going back into the closet. And also, what we also need to address that it's not just white people who are racist.
Of course not.
You know what I mean? Asian people are racist. Indian people are racist. They're all. Do you know what I mean? But when we walk into the shop,
Raven, the world is racist.
And especially, like what happened to the black and African people in China when coronavirus started. Is anyone speaking about that?
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Okay, right. And obviously, it's great to see like en masse, like it's the white community, white allies are coming out to support us and whatever. I have a multitude of friends from all races and genders and whatever across the spectrum. You know what I mean? I love everybody. I was brought up to respect. If you respect me, I will respect you. That's how I was brought up. But what you don't see is the Asian community is coming out en masse to support us. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. That's very true.
You know what I mean?
It is so true.
It's a human issue, and as human beings, we should all be coming together. And what I'm not seeing, obviously, there are Asian allies, of course. I have plenty of beautiful Asian friends. I love Asian culture. I'm wearing a kimono right now. But en masse, these communities aren't coming out. They aren't there.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
They're there in the back. I'm like, I see you, love.
Okay, I have to definitely disagree. I think, the white hashtag, a lot of white pride hashtag filters were spanned very recently by K-pop fans and by South Koreans.
Yes.
The better part of 3 weeks spamming their all the white pride filters with black pride pictures. There was a protest in South Korea. So I think that there's been a lot of support from a lot of Asian people, but they are, as you said, they're dealing with a lot of racism on their side. They love to whiten their skin. Blackness is seen as a negative. So I think there's work on their side. Also, a lot of China is not going to have a protest about anything when you have Hong Kong in one of the longest protests that have ever existed. So it's a little bit nuanced over there, I think. But I do think that even the Asian side of the world is trying to come together on this issue. I just think that they have
there's no denying that en masse Asian people are racist.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think that they're trying very, very hard. I think they're the rest of the world. The young Koreans are fighting very hard for this movement.
Yeah. And it's great that all the K-pop artists and stuff are showing their support, because to be fair, it's our culture what supports them, what's getting them through their life. So they should be.
I think they should be fighting hard. I think they should be fighting hard for the situation. There should be no excuse not to.
Yes.
They should be. They should be fighting hard. They should.
Yeah.
How do you think, guys?
You know, it's not that it's not because they got their they should
How
be.
do you think,
like everybody else
how
should
do you
be.
think the world, because I feel like the world is built on racism, completely and utterly built on it. And I feel like all the changes need to come from like deep down, because people, as we've seen, statues are getting taken down, but people are sat on the wealth built from those people, and they need to look at themselves and support and stand with everybody. Like I want the protests to be like bigger and stand together as like a full society, because what we see, and I don't know if you guys can relate, but a lot of people will be attaching this to set themselves as a fad, and then next month it'll be something completely different, and then the voices will then dim it down. The main reason we're going to do these monthly shows, but the voices will dim it down. But how do we get people to never ever silence the voice? Because that's what I feel like needs to happen. What do you think?
Keep talking, keep preaching, keep it on the social media sites, keep it going. Pure and simple. You see, I actually think that with this
more role models,
absolutely,
more role models standing up and talking out. We shouldn't be having. We should not be. Look, all these big people, all these role models that we claim that they have this, they have that. They have their music careers, and they've got the most money. I don't know how much more money that they want, but they should start giving back. And they should start standing up and saying it as it is. What is going on and what is happening. More role models in this. This is what needs to be done. More education. Education. Bring it back in the schools. You used to learn about other countries. Why did we not learn about Black history? I didn't get nothing about Black history in school. Bring it back. Plus two as well. They're pulling down. You have to understand. You're pulling down the statues. But just like they say, they pull down. Is it Cabot? The statue?
Yep.
Yeah.
Colston.
The whole of Bristol. Most of Bristol is Cabot. I mean. There's a statue. They pulled down a statue. If you looked on every single road, the names is Cabot, Cabot Circus, Cabot this, Cold Up this, everything. This is one of the biggest slavery places that they used to have slaves, that they brought the slaves in with their sugar, and their sugar cane and their rum. We need to educate. A lot of people don't even know that. A lot of people don't see that stand, and there's nothing that's put on it that says, well, this man was one of the people who actually allowed slavery to carry on for a longer period of time.
Instead, it's glorified.
We need to educate.
Yeah, well, I think British people
that's
just
right.
really aware of the history.
It's glorified. It's all glorified, and it needs to stop.
We have to be taught that it's our wealth. We don't want to be here in this cold ass country. You stole us and brought us here. You know what I mean? Why do you want to be here with our grey skin?
My grandmother bought my grandmother slaved herself on the railway lines. If she didn't do the railway lines, they wouldn't have railway lines.
Right, love.
Exactly.
Do you know how many Black people that they brought over to build the railway lines, and they took and they make it look like they built it.
And then they want to talk about
educating.
They want to talk about looting. They want to talk about looting. When they've raped Africa for all its wealth, all the wealth from all the world is from us. It's from us, from our people. Send it back. We need to tell people. We need to explain even to our youngsters, to our young ones. They're lost. They're lost. They don't know. They need reasons to carry on, and not, it's at the end of the day, money.
Yes, we know they need money. We need money. We all, you know, right. So we need to, we have to go back. We don't have to go back, but we need to go back and re-educate.
Yeah.
Re-educate from down here, from young all the way up. And explain to the young ones, you know, why are we fighting? Look how far our parents, grandparents have come as far as this fighting for us to be where we are today. And now we've been given that chance to speak up and talk out. We need to talk out. Enough is enough. Exactly. We need to make our voices heard. We need to make our voices heard. We need people out there as role models. We need people out there. You know, strategy. We need to support our councillors, our black councillors. We need more black people in the commons. But we need to support those people to get into those places.
Absolutely.
You know, so even though we're doing what we're doing, we still have to keep supporting each other as black people. Even when this quietens down and stops, we still need to support and carry on doing what we're doing, because we don't want it to go back to black on black killings. You have to understand that one too as well.
Absolutely.
Our young ones killing each other. They have no marching while we're protesting.
There's no, this is no, this is,
and all the killing has to stop.
Yeah, they need to get it in the route, like more youth clubs and social things and investment in the arts and projects for people to be inspired from a young age.
Because they say to us, oh, don't hit. What did they do? They said, don't hit your kids. You're not allowed to touch your kids. Like, you know, we're gonna take them whatever and stuff like that. Now you're giving them back because you don't understand. You don't understand them. And the only reason why you don't understand them is because you've taken everything away. You've taken away all their after school clubs. You've taken away their centers. You've taken away all their education things that they need.
To build.
To survive.
To build themselves. Building blocks to learn how to be a person, to learn how to be with other people, to learn how to team building.
We had cooking classes. We had so much things that we did. We had so many things that we had, and it's all been taken away. Now everybody's fighting for the last bit of crumb that's left out there. So if that's the case, now we're all fighting each other. We need to change the strategy up, open up our mouths, and start demanding what we want. And to get that, we have to all come together and talk about what it is that when we put it down on the table, they'll know what it is that we want.
Holla.
I mean, we have so many black councillors. But they don't get supported.
Look at how they treat
we need
Diane
to support them to get them into the commons, to get them into the place, to talk about what needs to change. I became a police officer. I became a police officer when I did Famous and Fighting Crime. I went behind the scenes. I put on that uniform as a black person. I'm not saying that every black police officer is bad. I'm not going to. But this is why I'm saying to you, we need to go in, and the people who actually have the police force, they need to be all set up. They all need to be retrained and know that if somebody hits somebody when they're not supposed to, you're supposed to step in.
Absolutely.
If something is being done wrong, you see how they all stood around George and hands in their pocket or whatever. It's supposed to be that is seen. If that is seen, that they need to step in. And if not, you must go to prison.
Absolutely.
And it ain't no second and third, it's first degree. Second and third, fourth degree, whatever degree, first degree. If there's no real rule, look, you can't do something and think it's okay, you get away, you only get a couple of years. That's a joke. That's a joke. Because anyway, half the time in prison, in prison it comes like they're having more fun in there than they are out here anyway. So if you go to prison, you go to prison. These men murdered somebody on social media, live on camera in front of everybody. And it's not just the first time it's happened.
But thank God for iPhones, because now you can film it.
Thank you.
Thank you to the people.
We all complain, whatever, but what if it wasn't none? What if there wasn't any?
Yeah,
But people don't
have to say yes. You have to say yes because this would not happen. This wouldn't happen. If we didn't see it, it wouldn't happen.
Everything that happened before there was mobile phones, like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right. Because don't forget. They say yes. We know how much people get killed. We have people in America that's been murdered. We have people here that's been murdered. We have people all over that's been murdered. But this one for social media live showing me the man's knee in his neck and he's calling out for his mom. It took that for us to start standing up and speaking out. And so if that's the case, we need to carry it on and we need to make sure, say, the goals that we are aiming for, the issues that need to be dealt with are dealt with.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Jake?
But we all need to come together. It takes a community, it takes a city, it takes society, it takes everybody to come together and make that difference. And if you're white and you don't like it, you need to step aside because this movement ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think there's three things that
if you really don't like it and you're racist, stay out. Stay out because this is involving everybody. This is involving every culture, everybody, every religion, everybody. Forget about your religion. This is everybody. And if you ain't in it, bye-bye.
Right.
Bye-bye. You don't need you. We don't need you here.
Yeah.
We don't need you here, babes. And everybody, this person, they're mentioning these people down in whoever this guy, these people that keep jumping onto Facebook or social media, talking the talk, whatever you want to talk. Ignore them. Don't mention their names. Why are we mentioning their names? Don't mention their names. Because that's what they fight. That's what they love. That's what
silence
they
is
want.
loud. Say nothing. Silence is loud. If people keep replying, silence is
Don't
loud.
mention them.
Say nothing.
Yeah.
Don't give them fuel. Say nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
When they're talking about all these people
them the fuel. We're here to do something.
COVID-19.
We're here to do something to make a change, to make a difference.
Yeah. See how they were with COVID. Oh, look at them all marching COVID-19. How comes you weren't saying that with VE Day? We were all having a lovely time. When you're all on the beach, all sunning yourself. No one mentioned it then. But now you're mentioning it.
On London Bridge, everybody week, clapping the NHS.
As they say, it's been a long time coming, but a change is going to come.
Right.
It's here, baby. It's here.
It's been a long time coming, but a change is going to come.
I was going to say there's three things that can really help with what we're talking about. The first thing is we're hearing a lot about defunding the police. When you're talking about everything, when Sandi was talking about everything they've taken from the community, that there are no classes, there are no education, there are no youth centers. We're looking, I'll speak for my country, but I know this is a global problem. Every year we defund education. Every year we defund social services. Every year we defund mental health resources. While the police budget gets larger and larger and larger and their political power gets stronger and stronger and stronger every year, now they have huge teams of lobbyists to choose who's going to be the politician, and it never ends. So this keeps getting thrown out.
Well, here's different. They're just not giving the money nowhere. The money's supposed to go to certain places and supposed to build. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to the places where it's supposed to go to. That's the problem. It is not going, but they're taking taxes, they're taking this, you make money in one hand and they take it out with the other and they're making it worse. There is no structure.
Tory government.
It's just no structure.
Then the response to COVID and then all the loss of life, they're just useless. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No.
It's okay. Everything can be forgotten. They've taken Fly B off Netflix, so it's all forgiven. This is what irritates me. Silly shows that keep getting taken down and they're like, we stand with you, and I'm like, what, by removing a TV show?
They didn't ask us. Ask us. Do a survey. Ask us black people. Do you find this offensive? Don't think you're doing me a favour by taking it off. Ask me. Are you offensive? Are you offended by it?
Did any of you watch Fly B or Little Britain? And were you offended by any of it?
No, I thought it was quite funny.
I did.
I thought it was really
I used to watch
funny.
Little Britain.
I thought it was funny. I wasn't offended. Right? I loved it. So do a survey of black people and say, are you offended?
They're taking
they're doing me a favour. Really?
They're taking the piss. That's what's happening now.
But they did it with us when Little Britain was all about I'm a lady. And then they removed it. I was like, well, I wasn't offended by that. So
oh God,
that's not doing anything.
These are old white men at the top.
You see what's happening now?
Idea.
But you see what's happening now? They're trying to change. They're trying to change things to make it into something away from what is the real.
Yeah, the real
thing
systemic problem.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's where we need to start focus. That's where we need to start. Like, you know, when these things happen, like there's always another agenda.
Yes.
There's always another agenda. You have to be really, really, really on point when it comes to these things. That don't interest me. Why is that going to interest me? Whether or not Little Britain? Oh, please. But then you're talking about all other shows that was coming on. Then you may as well take up all the shows off television. Because I still don't see enough black people on there anyway. I still don't see enough black people.
Was very, very clever in that.
I don't care. You're bringing the little token one. I don't care. I don't care.
Little Britain's humour was very much that it laughed at the racist, not at the person. So Emily Howard wasn't making fun of trans people, it was making fun of the people that make fun of. It was a very, very clever humour. And like you said, Tina, Sandy, Raven, I don't know if you've seen it, Jake. It was a British comedy show which aired about 15 years ago. And it was a double act, two white men, Matt Lucas and David Williams, and some of their characters were in blackface. That has been why it's being pulled off. But like you just said, like it's people being offended on your behalf without asking, and sometimes that just creates problems.
May as well just stop watching telly then, innit?
Isn't it?
Yeah, but also as well, we've got social media sites like Facebook and Twitter and all the other ones being monitored, you know, security and all that. But they allow racism on a daily, hourly basis.
Katie Hopkins.
That's why that guy that everybody's talking about on Facebook that keeps coming on and Instagram and he is racist, and they're allowing him to carry on doing exactly what he's doing.
Is it that Tommy Robinson?
Oh please.
Yes.
Oh, I can stand
Vile. Please.
Vile.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Is that his name? Anyway, let's not mention him. Let's not give him the hype.
No, the devil.
Let's not give him the hype. So why are they not taking him down? Why ain't they gone round to his house and knocked on his door? Because if that was a black person, they'd have been round there his house already knocking on his door. I'm sorry, they would have done.
Yeah,
it's the truth.
I'm sorry. I'm keeping it 100. They would have been round there already knocking on his door.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
It's still allowed to go on. Bullying and everything. You're supposed to be on this. If you are watching these things on Instagram, Facebook, and all that, bullying, trolling, none of that shouldn't even be on these pages, on these sites. You shouldn't even be nowhere near. As soon as you see it, it's taken down and you're not allowed back on it. Standard.
Done.
Whether it's your opinion or not, it's racism, it's bullying.
Yeah.
You should not be allowed to be on here. No second chance. This is why it's going to all. This is why all these things are all happening with all these children. You know how many young children message me about their color and what's being said to them about their gender, like whatever, like bullying and trolling up to yesterday. So this is a big matter. This is a big thing that is going on right now. So we have to talk up. We have to say it. Because if we don't, who is? And we don't stand up for ourselves and with each other, who is?
Not just this month, every month, every day, every week, it needs to continue. And it pisses us off because I mean, I even felt that they threw the suspect of Madeleine McCann in the mix just to detract, almost like it was a look over there moment.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yes, all of a sudden, just like that. All of a sudden, just like that. So you take your mind. So your mind goes, oh my God, oh really? Oh, and you forget about what's really going on. Oh please, these are the little things that you have to watch. There's always another agenda.
Yeah.
Where's all Raven, Jake, and Sandy, of course, and Tina, and many other celebrities have been vocal, but there should be more. Like, it should be a case of like not putting a little video.
They should be more vocal. They should be more vocal. You know what it is? They're frightened that they might lose their job. They're frightened that nobody's going to take them on to work anymore, or they ain't going to get no movies, no more films, or nobody's going to buy their music. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah. See, I just called out
Let's not get it twisted. They're frightened that they might lose their job. Nobody's going to want to use them if they really go out there and talk. So everybody's staying back. But if that's the case, then if you're not going to talk, you need to do something about it. If you don't want to be in the limelight and see what and be up front, well, then you need to still do something about it. Not just sit there in silence because you've got enough money, you're comfortable, I'm okay, I ain't getting involved. No, you are involved because you're a part of this too as well.
Part of the problem.
You're part of the problem and a part of the situation. Let's not get it twisted. I love that word because people like to
somebody that you know.
We need to speak so we can change it. So we can have a better word for all of us.
Well, yes, change it for the better. Change it for the better. Even give back. Okay, give back. You have so much. Give back. If they're not doing it, help each other. If you've got it, help somebody else. You have it. Build more schools. You've got it. Help the communities. Help put back into your communities. If they ain't gonna do it, lock them off, because if we didn't get up and work every day, this country would not move. Nowhere would move. If you stopped everything all of a sudden, nothing would happen, because they need us, the small people, to keep the world turning. Without us, this world ain't gonna turn.
Right.
We all can make a difference if we all stand up together. It's common sense. But if there's only going to be a few and a few and in between, what's the reason why? But we can't give up hope. We cannot give up hope. We cannot give up hope. We have to stay positive, motivated. We have to stay positive and motivated and educate and uplift each other, support each other more, support not just the same old businesses, support the black people's businesses. People have black business, we go somewhere else. No, educate yourself to even build your own little shop or your own company. Come on now, let's open up our minds and our brains and do more for each other. And support each other.
Easy over there, Jake.
We're all going for our own different motions and our own different reasons. We're all going for our own different motions, our own different reasons. We all bleed the same, but we all have different cultures, and we're not stupid enough not to understand that we can't learn from each other. If you talk, you learn from each other. If you communicate, we learn from each other.
Yeah.
I learn from what you're going through, what's happening with you, and how you're getting on. How we will learn from each other. Talk more to each other.
Yeah, and listen more as well.
Hallelujah, Jesus.
Listen to each other as well as talking, but listen as well. The world could be a better place.
Listen, yes, there are some people out there that are saying things which are important, but we're ignoring them. We're ignoring them. I know so much people out there that are trying to help communities, and they're being ignored, which means we need to support each other then, because what them people are capable of doing are going into places where we most probably won't even be able to get into. But they will, but they need the support to be able to do it, to make that change, to put what we are saying here now on the table in front of them.
I think it's a different dynamic, isn't it, Jake? In the USA, it's actually like my perception from the USA is like it's like 70% worse of how the police especially treat someone of color.
Yeah, well, the police are much more militarized in our country than in your country, so the brutality is a lot more.
Because you've got guns, more guns.
Say it again. Say it again.
Sorry, and you're right. I'm just agreeing with you. More military and more guns.
Yeah. So the instances are a bit more brutal. And here, I don't know how your guys' protests have been, but in America, the police.
It's 11 o'clock.
With the protesters as well. So it's been we have an extreme violence problem in our country that we're trying to solve.
And what's happening? I've not really had a chance to watch the news because I watch a lot about American politics and stuff. You know what I mean? You've got some like, especially in like the Democratic Party, some like amazing like leaders and stuff. Like what's going on there now? During the mayor, like the mayor was it Cuomo in New York?
He's so hot.
He's sick.
Yes, he is.
Down to that. Yeah, I love it.
I'm gonna fly over there. Yeah.
I mean, a lot's happening all at once. I think basically what we need right now is more clear demands of what we want our government to do, because we definitely have everyone's attention, and there are small victories everywhere. But we need a little bit more. We need to be a little bit more focused now with the efforts that we're doing, because just screaming is probably not going to get us where we want to go. So that's why I keep saying that we need to focus on the three things. I think really that we need to focus on specific laws, and so for America, that's qualified immunity among some others. And we need to focus now on putting pressure on our politicians. Because we need them to come to bat for us, and unfortunately, they'll only do that if we are.
And how can we do that, Jake? How can we do that?
I want to talk a little bit about this website again that we made. It's called Fight for Black Lives. I don't know how it works in the UK, but in America, the best way that we can change what our politicians are doing is by bothering them every day, every moment of every second. And so we need to be calling them specifically. We need to be emailing them specifically. We need to be blowing up their social media. And this website really can change the game, because all that information is right in front of you. You don't have to do any research. It's built for Gen Z. It's a couple clicks and you're there. It's simple. But we don't put pressure on the politicians specifically. And if we don't get more involved in the political process, in my country, the lowest demographic to vote are young Black Americans. Something like 30% or lower of young Black Americans under the age of 40.
That is.
I think that they don't think that there's a point. I think that they've, unfortunately, our community has bought onto the belief that it's all bought and paid for, that the way that we're living is the best that we can get. And we've kind of accepted the crumbs, and nobody wants to fight anymore. They're working 40 hours a week or more at starvation wages. They can't pay their rent. Social services get cut every single moment of every single day. Every time someone tries and they fail, they feel like they're never going to try again. So I think people are really hopeless, or have been for the majority of my life. I've been laughed at when I talk about getting involved in the political process by my Black family members, by even people in the queer community. And we just don't feel empowered at all. And I think that was the goal of white racism, was to make sure that even after slavery ended, that we remained slaves. And they kept paying us wages that didn't support us living, and we kept doing the jobs that nobody wanted to do, and nothing changed, just in my country, speaking for America specifically. And right now, the biggest positive thing that happened with this movement is people are feeling for the first time in their lives hopeful, because they took to the streets and their voices were
they can speak up.
Yes. And so I hope that this energy is transferred into the political process, into these laws actually changing, and we don't let them feed us lip service and say, oh, well, they just made string chokeholds and knee holds illegal in America. What I hope people realize is that's not going to change that much, because chokeholds have been illegal in New York for forever, and that's where Eric Gardner was choked in front of his family and his daughters at noon, middle of the day. That police officer was never charged. So we have to actually pay attention and listen to the Black leaders and try not to get distracted by all the screaming and focus on what specific things have to change. And in my country, that's things like qualified immunity. That's things like going to vote. You have to vote. We need to vote, especially in America.
The reason.
Isn't there something going on? Isn't there something going on? Just as there's something that people are supposed to be applying to vote. Isn't that like now? There's something going on during the riots.
In America, you have to register to vote. And you know, I don't know if you guys are Drag Race fans, but that's why the theme was to vote.
Now it's like now, innit? It's like now during this time.
Yes, Americans have to register to vote right now. It's so easy. Yeah. You've never done it. Just, it's a few clicks. It's so simple. It's one of the successes of the Obama's presidency. It's a lot simpler than it used to be. You can mail in the ballot. You don't have to go. So we need Americans to register to vote.
Yeah, but isn't Trump trying to change something with that, with mail-in votes and stuff?
Yes, and Trump wants, and I hope that Black people can pay attention to this in my country. There's something called voter suppression. And white Republicans attempt at every level to make it harder to vote. They try to, Trump is trying to make sure that we can't send in mail-in ballots, because he says that voter fraud can happen. So you have to pay attention. What are the most evil people in our society are trying not to let you do? They're trying not to let you vote. So don't tell me that voting doesn't matter. When the most evil powers that be are trying to do everything in their power to make sure that you can't do it. So yes, you're right.
So do it.
Yeah, well, I heard a very interesting
don't do it
on the subject of voting, that if you don't vote, you might as well have just given that vote to who's already in power, because you're not going to change anything. That was said to me the other day, and that really like struck a chord with me. And I thought, yeah, it is actually so important to vote, especially in America at the moment, because you do have a presidential election coming up. Now is the time to vote Trump out. Like, just get rid of him.
With the presidential election, I feel, and I don't know how you feel, or you, Jake, obviously in America, I feel we as a community and a society should have more choice of who is in charge of our streets. Because at the moment, it seems like there's someone just being like, hey, like a bunch of racists over there, do you want to come and join this corrupt, like, workforce of police and all that stuff? And I feel like as we choose our rulers, like presidents and etc., I feel like we should also have a right of how the process to employ police officers who are meant to be protecting our streets, but they are killing on our streets, should be chosen. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, absolutely. It needs a whole new system, because we have to remember that the whole reason that the police force was created was to catch slaves. So it's already there. It's already rooted in evil, and so that evil is the core, and then all these layers have been put around it so that it can systemically keep people who look like us down, because they want to control us. They don't want us to know who we are. They don't want us to have any hope. Do you know what I mean? So it's very important that we need a new system, a brand new system, I say. A brand new system that will work for everyone. Obviously, people need policing, but it needs to
will work for everyone.
Completely uprooted and reassessed, and a new system that works with everyone, so no one's got issues against it, or, you know what I mean, it's not working against us. And that's the only way I think there can ever be peace, really.
Robin, you're right. And also remember, it's still the old system. There's still old white privilege, white old fat man at the top, and with archaic ideas, right? Clean it out. Clean it out. And put some new blood in. With fresh ideas and fresh eyes.
With fresh ideas
in real time.
And then you start recruiting, because then people are gonna want to join, and people are gonna want to make a difference, because they have to live in the same community.
Absolutely.
And if they don't want that to happen to their own people, then they will go actually join these forces, so it doesn't happen and it doesn't become as it is today. And it's all uprooting, it's all starting anew, it's all starting afresh, it's starting to see a different way than the same old way. Everything.
Let me just ask you guys a question, because obviously I've been doing some research over the last week. You know, I was talking to my mum today and saying, you know, back in the day, and not including you, actually maybe you, Jaake, as well, you know, growing up watching TV shows, the A-Team, B.A. Baracus was someone we could relate to. You know, Lethal Weapon, Danny Glover as a policeman. Do you understand? You know, we never had any role models, did we?
No.
Growing up watching the television. No. And now, obviously,
that is so right, because when I was younger, I even said to myself, boy,
I don't relate to
who am I going to look up to?
Exactly.
Who am I going to look up to? I want to, what role model? I don't live in the States. I don't live in America. I'm here. And I'm thinking, who can I?
The Desmonds, Sandy, the Desmonds. Remember the Desmonds?
I mean, I knew Desmond very well. I knew Desmond very well. Desmond used to come to our house.
They had the African intellect, and they had pork pie. But if you look at it now, I've recently been watching some of the episodes. They kind of dumbed them down a little bit.
Yeah.
The pork pie was the drunk, and the intellectual one was a little bit quirk. You understand?
Yeah,
and now there's more black people. And yesterday,
it's not real.
Rachel Adebayo, who was on the X Factor, who is now an actress on Hollyoaks.
It's not real.
Talking about her experience being an actress on a well-known soap, and
they bring them in all for the wrong. But they're bringing it. I understand that they're being brought in. Yeah, but they've been brought in for the wrong reasons.
Of course, token black people.
It's only because if somebody says, "Oh, we've not seen enough black people in this show. Oh, there's not enough black people in that show." Yeah. You want to see how quick they run and go find a black family quickly to go into the show.
Yeah,
they weren't thinking about that before because they didn't want a black people because they would have been in there a long time ago.
Yeah,
they would have been in there a long time ago. I'm on television. I'm on television. I was on up to last night. But they're still putting up. But that ain't even during the day. That is like 11, 12 o'clock at night.
I know, Sandy.
When they know black people are still up watching telly.
Yeah.
Half of them black shows that don't come until late at night. Look at my girl that did Bubblegum. She came on after 10, 11, whatever, 10:45 at night. You won't see them during the day.
Prime time, not prime time.
So that's another thing too as well. Like we haven't got enough black. Amazing black artists, amazing black actors and actresses.
We have artists, everything. We created it.
Musicians, yes, we have, and that's what we have to change. Stop going out and go and getting and bringing back. We have them here too.
Yeah.
But you know what? Also, now they kind of sliding off to the side. Those poor football players still in this day and age having bananas thrown at them, and the chant is disgusting. Wow!
And chanting. Why is that still going on? This is why we can't stop what we're doing. Right. This is why we can't stop. We have to carry on. We have to power on. We have to keep powering on, whether they like it or not.
We need to get into the system. Like you were saying, we need to get into the system. So there's a quote I was watching this program the other day, and it was like, systemic issues require systemic solutions. So it's lucky we're all part of the system.
Yes.
So we all need to get together, like you said, like we keep saying.
We're all a part of it, and we're all in it.
All of us across the pond, all around the world. If we all on that one thought process want to go in that one direction, it will happen. Because they'll have no choice but to listen. But we all need to do it with peace,
but we have to keep it up
with elegance and grace and show the world.
Yeah. And I pray that if we do keep doing the marches. And it is and if we do keep doing the marches, please, we need to keep it. We need to keep it peacefully. We don't give them the ammunition to do what they do. We need to, because we're doing it for a reason. We're not doing it because we want to mash up the country. We're doing it because we have to.
Yeah.
You know, but we can do it peacefully and we can do it the right way. and we can get more people, more role models to speak out loud and to get what needs to be done in this country and all over the world and in America or wherever else.
The thing is as well, Sandy and Raven and Jake and all of you, we have been dumbed down so much thinking, oh, don't say too much because you might lose your job. I don't want to work for someone like you if that's on your mindset.
That's the case.
Right? I will speak.
I'm here talking with you guys now, and I'm keeping it 100. And I'm on, and I actually work on the television 24. I mean, that's how I make my money. That's my job. That's what I do, and I travel all over the world. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stay silent. That doesn't mean I'm going to just sit here and because I'm doing that, and I'm going to lose whatever I'm going to lose. God gave me a voice to speak up when something is wrong. If something is wrong, you have to speak up about it. If you don't speak up about it, it stays the same. Correct. And so I've learned that if I see something wrong and it needs to be said, I'm going to say it. Whether you like it or whether you don't. You're allowed to have an opinion. We're all allowed to have an opinion. But I hope that that opinion that I am giving is the right opinion, that you do join me in on it.
Of course.
But representation matters. Representation really, really matters. And I think it's just crazy when you look back and you think it took almost 80 years for the first, Halle Berry was the first Black woman of colour to win an Oscar. And it took Disney like nearly 70 odd years to get a beautiful Black princess, the Princess and the Frog, and she got turned into a frog for most of the movie. When you look at that, you think that's
why I love what Star Wars. What's it from Star Wars?
John Bogle. Yes, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on now. Come on now.
For him to stand on
how long Star Wars has been going on for?
For him to stand on that platform and say, I may not be able to work again.
Yeah.
How sad for him to have to say that? But he was saying, I don't care. These are my people, and my parents had to deal with everything. For me to stand here, to be on a big platform like Star Wars. Amen, John. Amen.
Right. And and also too as well, you know why I support him? Because I knew him when he first started. I've known him, I've met him, and he's amazing gentleman. And he was out at an event. And I was there, and he had security around him, and they stopped me from going to actually talk to him, and he pulled them up, and he turned around and said, don't you touch her. Don't you touch her.
Right.
She is my auntie. Leave her alone. She's with me. And they had to back off. They had to back off. So I support him, whatever he does, whatever he says.
Did you have your saber with you? Back away.
Listen, that's why I love him and I support him, because he supports his own, no matter where he's come from, where he's gone, and what he's done. He's fought hard for where he's got. He's fought hard and nail, because as a Black person in this industry, it is bloody hard. So for him to even get where he is, I big him up. I don't care. And he's speaking out too as well. He's speaking out.
Absolutely.
So I love him. I don't care. It is what it is.
That's like me also. I've just recently, a couple of months ago, I stepped away from. I used to work for one of the biggest house record labels in the world. I was the brand ambassador and the advisor and face and lead dancer of this brand. And afterwards, it's done, I appreciate it so much because it's done so much good for me in my life. It come at a time when I've lost my grandmother and I had the opportunity to go and live in a beef and work one day a week and put my energy into something that I felt was just a moment in time where, when you go to the clubs a couple of years ago, everyone was separate and divided. And do you know what I mean? And I felt like I was put into this position it was creating a club and a brand that was bringing people back together. When you're going to dance floor and you're looking, you'd be like, and then you'd be connected. And I felt like I was in the right place at the right time doing that. And I did it for so long, but after a while, it gained in success. And then I quickly switched and became about the money. And my heart was just not in it, in that sense, because I felt like I was there. I was just being used for my image, because I asked that. Do you know what I mean? I asked that I need, what am I going to get from this? I'm giving you my heart and my soul and my energy year after year after year. What am I getting that's going to permanently benefit my life? Do you know what I mean? For the better, because I'm getting older. I'm a dancer, I'm an artist. All I have is what I'm giving you. Do you have my best interest at heart? No. And so Because it dawned on me that there was just using my queer energy, using my fierce. They love my fierce personality in my presence. But then when you start to know your value and your worth and what you deserve to have, then you become an issue. You're a problem. You're negative. So then I decided to walk away.
Good.
But I decided to walk away. I left. You know what I mean? I left gracefully. Didn't say anything. And then the other day, obviously the other week, we had to deal with what we saw coming from across the pond with George Floyd being murdered, and it was like literally 5-6 days, and they said nothing. So I approached him privately at first. I was really upset by it because at the end of the day, house music and
it's black music.
It's black music. Your living comes off the back of people like me, black, gay, Hispanic. You have a moral obligation, not you personally, because I love the man, the guy who owns the band, but the band has a moral obligation to say you stand with us and you are with us. And so I messaged in this privately, and the response that I got was I don't appreciate your message. But I basically just gaslit and told to be quiet, stop being negative, blah, blah, blah. And then 30 minutes later, went and posted saying, we stand in solidarity and da 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 da. But by then, it was too late because I'd already posted the screenshots of what he said in the group, but everyone knew what happened. And it wasn't the first time I've been treated like that. You know what I mean? Because I was dealing with like the Karen in the office who didn't like my energy. Because you know what I mean? You get these people who it makes them feel comfortable for you to sit underneath them.
Absolutely.
And I'll stand. I will respect your position. I will respect who you are and what your authority is. But you will respect me. And if you disrespect me, I'll tell you I don't like that. And they don't like that. So then you have this little girl saying, "Oh, he's being mean," and then he takes her side. It was a whole mess of problems. Where I'm trying to explain the situation. Because obviously we have to deal with these type of problems all the time. Yes. And he just didn't want to listen, constantly shut down, told to be quiet, told that I'm negative. And then after that, it was just too much. So I went boom, boom, boom. And now everybody knows what's going on. Yeah.
Good.
Listen to me. Listen good. You have this. You can record anything you want.
Right.
Anything. So me and you if we have a conversation and you're rude, I'll just press voice record, love. Right?
And air it. It's what you have to do.
You're bad. You ain't badder than me.
Yeah. They can't get away with it anymore.
Is this a bad time to let you all know we're live? No. This is the reason, guys. This is the reason we do this show. And we want, me and Josie want to invite you guys on every month if you can make it. But if not, everybody else will be doing it. And we want to do it month because I don't believe this should be one of those
one-off.
I don't want that. I'm a loudmouth.
You shouldn't.
I will be fucking heard. I'm sorry. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, I'm just sorry.
Love it. We love it.
But we're here for a reason. We're here for a reason. You're doing this show for a reason, and if it means that, obviously things are happening right now, and there is a change, and we do need to come together. So for this show to be actually done, and for all of us, and for me to meet all of you, and to actually be able to be honest and to be real and to say what needs to be said. We need to keep doing it. So as long as you got this show and as long as you do what you're doing, then you've got my support, because we need to talk. We do
now
need
you know
to
how
talk
to work
more.
the phone, Sandy.
And over there in America, bye.
Oh, guys, this has been a really, 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 really hard-hitting discussion, and I would like to invite you guys back next month to do it if you guys are available. We will give you. We'll give you like a 3 week
Jesus' blessings.
Yes, oh yes.
Before we let you all go, and we'll go around everyone, but what's your final word until next month when we do the show? I'll go straight to Jake.
I'm going to bring up this website again. Sorry. But
Good.
I'll put it in the comments. I'll put it in the comments.
I really but the website is
So my neighbor.
FightForBlackLives.com. FightForBlackLives.com. If you're in America, please check it out. It's so easy. Type in your zip code. Boom. Everyone you need to talk to is right there. I really believe that this moment, we just need a little bit of focus, because this is so powerful to have the entire world on the same page and the same energy moving. And if we can use this energy to create change, then we're going to be really proud of ourselves when we're 85 and our kids are like, what did you do in 2020?
Be on the right side of history.
Yeah.
I'm going to say mine, and I'm going to just follow suit, like fightforblacklives.com. There you go. Raven?
I would just say, like, just the same. We just all need to make sure we stay on the same page. Make sure you're checking in on each other, checking in on your black friends, because you know what I mean. It's a very difficult time. You know what I mean. Like, I'm a very strong person, and I can get through my day to day. You know what I mean. Luckily, I have my housemate and good people around me. But it is, and I'm mentally strong, but it is mentally draining in ways that you probably don't even realize. It's taking its toll. You need to make sure you're checking in on each other. We're keeping positive. We're staying on the right track. No violence, no anger, but with love, from a place of love, and keep on track. Keep this discussion going. Don't let the media knock you off course. Don't let all these far right football hooligans distract you from the positive love that we'll all come together. And we're all, like you said, like Jake just said, it's a very, very powerful shift in humanity for us all to be focusing on and thinking and heading in the right same direction. So let's keep that. Let's keep that up. Do you know what I mean? I appreciate all my friends, all my allies, from all races, from all religions. Do you know, if you're with us, I appreciate that, and do you know what I mean? I can feel it, and I can feel like the change is coming. So I'm gonna look you all.
I just want to say I think we should certainly keep the conversation going. I think we should empower people. I think we should listen as well as talk. And I think we should just continue with that message of love and unity. And I think united together, we can achieve so much.
Tina?
Education, educate yourself. Don't ask me how to do it. Don't ask me. Read it. It's all Freeman's on Google. Look and educate yourself. I was going to message you as well
after this. How to be a better person, but I won't now. Shit. Sandi, what would your final thought be?
Who's this? She's saying this now.
Oh, she's broke her phone. I knew she would.
Everything that everybody's just said in that room. Everything that everybody's just said in there. Everything all together. To be kind, to love one another. Not black lives matter, black power. Love each other, be kind to one, uplift each other, motivate each other. Education is the key as well. And yes, let's stay together and make this world a better place to live.
Well, I hope to see you four join us next month. If you guys are up for it, we'll send you a message. But for now, I will leave you with Black Lives Matter and fucking hell, we need to get that.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Love you guys.
You in the end. Outgoing. Goodbye, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Over here.